Hey everyone, Irene Lyon here, and welcome to this entire world of nervous system health and healing. Today I want to tackle the topic of tension in the jaw, tension in the mouth, in the face, grinding of our teeth. This is something that is very common in humans, and often it's maybe a dentist that tells us that something's going on because they see that our teeth are being literally disintegrated due to grinding at night, and we might not know it. Many of us, however, do know that this is happening because we wake up with intense tension, not just in the jaw and face, but also in the upper neck. Now, there isn't one reason for this. I will list a few reasons that I have seen personally, but also professionally. And I will say at the very top of this video that this can be shifted and healed. And from my line of sight in this world of somatic trauma, healing at this level, nervous system dysregulation, what we would call stored survival stress, which is the fight and the flight and the freeze, these things contribute typically to this tension, to this grinding, to this pain. And it inevitably comes back to us storing this stuff in our nervous system, in our, we would call it motor systems. We are, for whatever reason, holding back the movement in our jaw, in our face, in our upper neck. And why that happens is plentiful. There's many reasons. So one of the first things that often I think is a result of this tension is we are stressed. There is the daily grind, literally grind, and it is coming out when we're sleeping. So in a given day, the times that you never spoke up, the times that you held back an emotion, the times you might have felt a desire to set a boundary, all these things, especially for humans, they come out and they execute through our mouth, through our ability to speak, to say things. We have to remember we are mammals and humans, and anger, healthy aggression, this grr, growl, snarling, that's in us. It's less seen that way because we're not like the angry dog or the bear or the big cat or lion that's roaring and growling and all these things. But we have that capacity in us. And for many of us, it was never cultivated when we were young. And we don't even know that we're suppressing this anger. I've done quite a few other videos on healthy aggression, on anger, and the importance of anger as medicine. I will not get into all of that right now, but I will encourage you to go to those after watching this. We will link that playlist near this video. The other thing that I have seen with tension in the jaw and face, it could be old dental trauma. Now, for some, you might be like, oh yeah, I had some horrific dental experiences when I was a kid, when I was an adult, when I was a teenager, whatever it might be. It could even just be a filling or a teeth cleaning where you did not want to be there, but you held back that desire to run or to bite the dentist's hand or whatever it might be. But for some of us, we never even considered, we didn't realize when we were in that dentist chair, say, or orthodontist chair, or whatever it might be, that we were holding on, that we were gripping, that there was this tension and this fear in our face. And then we leave, but in many ways, we've disconnected from it because it was too much, but we then hold it within our tissues, within our motor nervous system. And then this can come out either immediately or years after these dental experiences. Another one that I experienced, braces, so orthodontics. I had them when I was a teenager. They didn't work because my teeth went back to being crooked. But I remember vividly waking up the day after I got the braces on the first time, and the pain that I felt in my mouth and in my scalp was next level. Probably one of the second biggest pains I've ever experienced in my life, and I'm not exaggerating. The first biggest one was having my kneecap break in half. That story is on my bio if you want to learn about that. That's for another day. But that tension, that pain, and I had to get up and go to school. I doubt I stayed home, and I probably shut down that tension. And then you get used to it. And then what do you do as a kid with braces? You go back and they make them tighter. And then this process happens again to the point where you're pretty much shut down from that tension in your head, in your skull, in your jaw, and throughout your teeth. So another reason I think a lot of us might have jaw tension and pain is these old memories of stuff that occurred in our mouth as a result of dentistry, orthodontics, etc. Now, the other thing, so I mentioned, of course, this storing up of our expression, anger, there's the dentist piece. And then the other thing that can be a result of tension is just this general holding back of who we are. Now, that goes a little bit with healthy aggression, but if we are in any minute way suppressing our energy, our life force energy, our creativity, humans are social creatures. We have the capacity for immense social engagement and communication. And when we are not fully using this face of ours, these muscles, the way we can produce sound and words, and of course also these emotional elements of anger, but when we're not creating, expressing, when we're holding it back, think of that concept, the stiff British upper lip, keeping everything shut in. When that is happening, there is an intense amount of strain and pressure, keeping stuff in. Think about this over a lifetime. That is a lot of stored tension. And then when we sleep at night, which is usually when people feel this, not always, but typically, our body goes into process mode. And if it has lots of stored stress inside, lots of stuff that's never been said, never been expressed, it starts to process at night, and we're literally chewing and grinding, trying to get this stuff out, but we're not conscious to it. And so then we wake up with this tightness in our jaw. It's called the TMJ joint, in our facial muscles, in our neck muscles. It can be quite debilitating. And I have experienced some of this as well. So in a nutshell, this idea of jaw tension, teeth grinding, pain in the mouth, it can be a result of many things. But inevitably, if I bring it back down to this nervous system level, there are these things called memories that we store in our body. They're implicit to our physiology, to our motor nervous system, to fight, flight. If we never got to scream and shout or say no, or all the things that we may not say because we're trying to be good little humans, that gets stored inside. It doesn't just seep out with time. And so we need to work on our nervous system. We need to work on these motor actions. So it might start in this moment where you start to notice, when do you hold back? When do you feel an emotion? Even tears, holding back tears takes a lot of energy in the throat and mouth. Holding back any emotion holds in and creates tension in the face. So in many ways from this day forward, can you start to notice when you hold in? And for those of us who have been holding in for a lifetime, we might be more in a bit of a, we would call it functional freeze situation. I did another video on that a little while ago. We'll post that below so you can learn that. That actually ties beautifully in with this holding back of emotion, because it might not be a big trauma or dentistry or these things. It could be something little that occurred when we were little and we just got really good at suppressing. So we want to start to understand, how do we suppress? How do we hold back our emotions, our healthy aggression? Was there some kind of trauma to the mouth, to the teeth, where we had to shut it down and dissociate and disconnect from this part of our body? And then the other elements to learning more about this and healing this are becoming connected to the body, learning how to follow our impulses, and also understanding, as I mentioned, all the stressors that we've held over the years. If you haven't yet started with any of my audio samplers or my courses, namely the 21-day nervous system tune-up course, I highly recommend that. as an entry point into learning about your physiology, your biology, your nervous system, but also having practices that teach you how to reconnect to the body. Many of our students will say that as they get more regulated, as they get more attuned to their nervous system, they start to notice that the tension shifts. They start to sleep better. Their processing is different at night. They're not holding on for dear life all these tensions that are in the body, because during the day, as they're working with their system, they're releasing and they're building what we would call nervous system and somatic capacity. So if you haven't started on any of these pieces that I mentioned, if you're new here and this is something in the jaw, in the mouth that you know you experience and it could be very debilitating, I highly recommend you get into my resources and start. Thank you so much for being here, and we will see you next time.